There's always a positive to be gained from negative experiences in life. From tragedy, good can come. Look at the cross. Look at the cross. How good comes from something so vile and evil and sickening. Your salvation does. Paul has this kind of perspective. Look at these verses 12 through 14. He says, I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me has really served to advance the gospel, so that it has become known throughout the whole imperial or Praetorian Guard, and to all the rest that my imprisonment is for Christ. And most of the brothers, having become confident in the Lord by my imprisonment, are much more bold to speak the word without fear. I want you to know, brothers, I want you to know, Christians. Again, these people are suffering because they don't know. The expectation of the unknown is terrifying. And some of them are distraught. Again, remember, some of them were probably thinking, what's going to happen to us? What's going to happen to me if Paul dies? Well, if anyone understood obstacles and hardships, it was the Apostle Paul. 2 Corinthians 11, Paul speaks of the things that have befallen him since becoming a follower of Christ. And let me ask you, if these things happen to you, think to yourself, if these things happen to me after I become a follower of Christ, do I really want to stay a follower of Christ? He was beaten several times because of his faith. He was threatened. He was stoned. He was left for dead. He was shipwrecked, stranded on an island. And now he's in prison under house arrest. And remember, we said part of, and we see it here in this, part of it in this passage, is that being in prison under house arrest meant you had to pay for your own care. And there was a guard chained to you 24 hours a day. Every 4 hours, a new guard comes on shift. He's under house arrest for 2 years. And we think justice moves slowly here. I think it always has. And here he is under house arrest. Although many are able to come and see him, he's able to continue to preach. People in Caesar's household, these guards are hearing the gospel. Can't you imagine some of the conversations at night when these guards go home? Or when they get around one another? Paul sees an opportunity to advance the gospel. Notice the word in our passage here, the word served. In some translations, it's rendered as for. But it is literally pointing to a specific purpose. And this demonstrates for us that Paul understood that his sufferings, all of the sufferings, were for a greater cause. Can you say that? Can you and I say that our sufferings, whether past or present, or even what might lie ahead, are for a greater cause? You might think, my suffering had nothing to do with the gospel, but I say, my friend, my brother, my sister, it does. Because you are not alone in your suffering. There are always family and friends, and there are people who are watching, and there are people who are ministering. There are people who are intervening. There are people always impacted somehow, some way by your suffering, by your pain. None of us really go through anything alone. These things, Paul understood, didn't happen just by chance. In eternity past, before anything was ever created, God knew. He knows it all from beginning to end. He knows your life, the day you'll be born, the day you will die, and what happens in between. He knows it all. But Paul understands, God knows, and these things didn't happen to him by chance at this time in his life. His imprisonment, notice what he says, his imprisonment makes him well known among whom? Well, look at it again. So that it has become known throughout the whole imperial guard, throughout Caesar's household. They know who I am, but better yet, they know they're hearing about the Jesus, the one who has been raised from the dead that I'm preaching about. They may see me, but they're hearing about him.